Hello and welcome to my analysis of the new Death Stranding trailer, which was shown last week at the 2017 Game Awards. Death Stranding is Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima's new IP, and he's been working on it since he left Konami following the completion of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Death Stranding was first revealed at E3 2016 during the Sony press conference, and its utter weirdness has instantly had the gaming community intrigued. We saw a second trailer revealed at the 2016 Game Awards, and now we have this third one. My interest in Death Stranding has reached the point where I feel I need to discuss it in detail with others, so I'm going to start covering it on this channel, and I hope you leave comments and such about what you think is going on. I'm open to reading everybody's interpretations. This third trailer is even weirder than the last two, and it just raises more questions than it answers. However, I'm going to go through this trailer with you and see if we can't pick out some details and discover some clues as to what Death Stranding is all about. Enjoy. Okay, so the trailer begins with Norman Reedus talking about explosions. He says, I think he references 4 explosions in total. First of all, the explosion, I think the first explosion alludes to the Big Bang, the creation of, the universe. Then the second explosion, I think, is relating to, the planets being formed, our position in the galaxy, that kind of thing. And then the third explosion, I've seen some people theorise that is probably a reference to the explosion of life on Earth. When Earth became lush and, life began and just multiplied and went on from there. The fourth explosion, I think, is the events of Death Stranding. It's set either just before, during, or just after the fourth explosion, and that seems to be what he's alluding to here.
Once there was an explosion, a bang which set a planet spinning in space. Once there was an explosion.
This trailer is all in-engine, so we can expect the final product to look pretty similar to this, I believe. I mean, it really looks fantastic. And there's Norman Reedus as character, who turns out to be called Sam, and he's wearing clothes in this trailer. Appears to be a number there on his lapel. I can't see any real meaning to the number, but there on his shoulder there, it says Porter. People have theorised that he and his crew in this trailer are kind of corpse handlers, that they collect corpses for some reason, perhaps to stop the monsters, whatever they are, from getting them. And, he's wearing a hazmat suit there. He says Porter, so that seems quite likely to me. And there, some kind of futuristic transport machine has crashed for some reason. And we see his friend's been pinned down. There you see Porter again on his leg. So here he comes up to some kind of corpse that almost looks like it's been mummified or something. You can see there it's wearing a gold mask of some kind. And, it's been wrapped up properly. I suspect this is the corpse they were porting somewhere. And yeah, something has caused their vehicle here to crash. Probably the monsters, whatever they are. It looks like quite a futuristic vehicle to me. What's that on the left? I don't know if it flies or if it's on wheels or what, but something's caused it to crash. And here we see one of the blokes has been pinned down on his leg. Here's a cool thing, right? Each of the guys in this crew, they have wristbands on. You can see there, his is orange. But Norman Reedus' character and the guy helping this guy, their wristbands are blue. And people have theorised, I didn't come up with this, but people have theorised that they will be an indicator of your health in the final game. And blue means your health is good, orange means you're wounded, and when it turns red, you're dead. And people have noticed this by when the guy currently helping this guy stabs himself, his light changes on his wristband. We'll look at that in a bit. But that's a nice catch, and that would be a cool gameplay indicator of your health without using a HUD. On the guy's, on his left arm, you can see a Bridges logo insignia, so it seems like Sam and his friends work for Bridges. And then we see this strange device on that the guys wear on their backs that it appears to be detecting the presence of something. I think the monsters, because obviously they can't be seen. So this thing seems to let them know that they're coming. I assume this will absolutely be a gameplay feature. You know, you'll have this thing on your back and it'll give you information about the world around you. So this guy, he starts to age there. If you just catch that, he starts aging significantly. And you can see his teeth go yellow, wrinkles come on his hair to his head is greying. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening there. I have no theory about that. The monsters show up in a bit, so I wonder if their presence kind of twists time or something. But you know, why the other characters not being aged as well? Is it something to do with the fact he's wounded? I don't know. But yeah, nice detail. His device is going crazy. And then they say don't even breathe. Oh, you can see there his wristband is orange. And if we go back just a second, his is blue. Now they say don't even breathe. I wonder if they mean just don't make any noise so they won't be detected. But the way they're covering their mouths, it almost seems like they really are just holding their breath, that they can't even breathe, literally. Alright, so here we see handprints of one of the invisible monsters coming. This appears to be a... sorry, I don't know what happened part of the video. This appears to be very similar to the baby in the first trailer that turns invisible in Norman's arms and then begins to crawl across the beach, and you see its handprints. So the device is looking straight at the monster there, showing its location to the crew. This corpse is clearly quite important to them. They, you know, I mean, in this situation, someone's wounded, there are monsters nearby. You'd think they'd just get the hell out of there, but they haven't. They're, you know, Sam is sticking around with the corpse. And here we see the corpse taken in by the kind of oil, I think that is, kind of black oil, and its mask disintegrates. And then here we see something completely new, a giant monster of some kind of being Norman sees, and then that's followed by handprints of more monsters. And it looks like Norman's about to get it, but his friend screams, which distracts the monster. And see, Norman there is covering his mouth as well. I wonder if that's more than just trying not to be loud. That's, you know, literally trying not to breathe, not letting the monsters get near your mouth. So this guy is enveloped by the oil, and it carries him off, it seems. And what's really interesting here, I think, is that these characters would rather die than be taken by these creatures. That guy, you know, begs him to help him, and I don't think he's saying help me as in get them off me. I think he's saying kill me. You know, he would rather be dead than be taken by these things. And later on we see this character stab himself to death rather than be taken. And it just begs the question of what the hell are these creatures doing to people that people would rather kill themselves than be taken by them. And you see his device is still pointing at the oil, and he takes his friend out there. And then this character appears, who we never see his face, but there's a lot of speculation. I think this is true. This is Mads Mikkelsen's character that we saw in the second trailer. In the second trailer, we see him in the sewer, and he does the exact same gesture he does here of putting a finger to his mouth, indicating silence, and then pointing forward. And I think it's really interesting to note that Mads seems to have the same equipment that these guys do on his back. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some history here between Bridges and Mikkelsen's character. There's his device. It does appear to be slightly different to theirs, perhaps an older model. And here we see another baby. These babies seem to be very important to the world of Death Stranding. Who knows why are they in these pods? Why is he wearing him in a little papoose? What service do these babies provide to the crew? Why do they need this baby with them? We can only speculate, but clearly they're important. Infantile imagery has been persistent throughout all the trailers. And there the vehicle is getting consumed. And he draws attention to himself by shooting. And again, it seems like loud noises is what really attracts them most. You know, Sam has just stood there, but he's not being attacked, but the guy that just fired his gun repeatedly is. So he drops his gun there. He's being taken. And he would rather stab himself to death than be taken by these creatures. So, and pay attention there to his wristband, his blue wristband that's on his right arm. You'll see it change from blue to red, seemingly showing his damage being taken. And then everything begins to float upwards except Sam. Why? What's special about him? And he finds the baby's pod. I wonder if this is the pod with the baby in, or this is the same baby that we see in the first trailer on the beach. And here we see some kind of huge titan with, I gotta be honest, at first I thought that was a giant knob. a giant penis. But upon close inspection you can see it's actually an umbilical cord. So again, more imagery about infants. And you can see things being pulled up. There's a crab there. And there are threads coming from his hands, like he's holding something. Again, the idea of the rope and the threads, very persistent in Death Stranding. And something happens. And we next see Sam underwater. Now, there are a few things to note in this underwater section. Firstly, you can see on his right arm there, he has a tattoo. I don't think this is anything particularly important. I think Norman Reedus really does have that tattoo in real life. So I think it's just an inclusion of that. I don't think there's anything really to analyse there. And again, I mean, is he really underwater? Is this a dream? I mean, what's going on? You know, how's he breathing? Where did his clothes go as well? And then corpses being pulled upwards, and you can see threads there again. And some kind of giant creature. Looks like some kind of, I don't know, like a spider or something, or I don't know. It's unlike any creature I've ever seen. And here we have whales. There's a vehicle there. There are a few important things I want to show here. Okay, first of all, we see this car door with the Bridges logo on, showing clearly that Norman and his friends are part of Bridges' crew. It says United Cities of America, which is obviously a take on United States of America. Why has that changed? What has happened that now there are only United Cities of America? Has there been some kind of apocalypse and now most places in America is just a wasteland, and now there are just United Cities of America rather than entire states? Or maybe that's just where the headquarters of Bridges are. certain cities. I don't know, but very intriguing. And then something goes past here. It's easy to miss. You could just make it out there. It looks like a dream catcher of some kind. And again, I have no real solid theories on what the dream catcher means, but the fact is that it takes centre screen stage here, and I don't think Kojima would have it there if it wasn't important. And then here we see Norman Reedus underwater, and then the weirdest moment of the trailer that made everyone go, what the fuck? There appears to be a baby down his throat, some kind of fetus, a Norman Reedus fetus. As you can imagine, there's been a massive amount of speculation over this. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in a video game, maybe one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. I mean, there's no way to get around it. It appears there is a little fetus inside Norman Reedus's chest or throat or something. And, I mean, no one has been able to figure out what it means exactly. Is there literally a fetus inside his chest? Or is this meant to be a kind of fourth wall break, kind of Kojima saying hello to viewers? Is it meant to be metaphorical? Who knows? I have heard one theory, that the fetus is actually a clone of Norman, and that's how this game will handle death. That when you die, your clone will continue where you left off. So you'll have numerous characters throughout the game that all look the same, though. And that's certainly possible. In the first trailer release, I believe Norman's character did have a scar on his stomach that looked like a C-section scar, which, that kind of makes me think maybe this baby is physically there and that he operates and that's how you get them out when they're old enough to live outside the body. Is this how, for some reason, men are having children? On the topic of men having children, I'll discuss that in a minute. There's a theory about that. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, as weird as it is, I'm kind of leaning towards the idea that that really is there. And that, yes, this is perhaps a clone. The songs that Kojima has used for the trailers have been very specific. And the song used in the first trailer was Low Roar's I'll Keep Coming. And Kojima has said that he's going to toy with the way death works in his video game. And I think this could be the idea of, even when your character dies, you keep coming as the clone. And, it's kind of the spirit of the person that lives on rather than their physical body. So, who knows, I could be completely wrong about that, but it's an interesting idea. And there it gives us a little high five almost. But then you have to ask, is that the baby that was in the pod? Is that the baby we see in the trailer? I mean, where did it come from? Was it always in Norman? Or did it just appear in him just then? I mean, who knows? And then it seems like his time underwater did happen because we see him vomit up some of those bugs. And some of the oil there, it seems. And then they start floating. And again, Norman doesn't. And you have to ask why. And just a little thing to if you could just see it there. That keychain there attached to the pod is, if you look at that in high res, is a keychain of the Homo Ludens kind of figure holding, kind of dressed in that futuristic spacesuit. And that begs the question, is Homo Ludens, Kojima Productions' new mascot, is that part of the Death Stranding universe? It certainly looks like it. I've suspected from the beginning it is. Some people say it's not. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if it turns out that that mascot is a figure in the game. If the person in it isn't even Norman Reedus. I think that, Homo Ludens and the Kojima Productions mascot, I really think it is all tied into Death Stranding. I'd be very surprised if it's not. And if it isn't, then this keychain could just be a little Easter egg for us. But I think it is. I think Bridges is to do with that mascot. And they get a good look at his uniform, which again is quite similar to the Ludens mascot. and we see him shed a single tear. Classic. But clearly he's upset by something. And there we see the floating figures again. And we saw them in the first trailer. Again, you can see threads going from the ground upwards. And the figures there. I have to... a minute ago, he was underwater. And my little theory on why we've been seeing, mass strandings like we saw in the first trailer of whales and squid and the like, is this what he stood on meant to be the ocean floor? And I don't just mean this crater here, I mean all of it. Is this, what was this once completely underwater and an ocean floor? And have these beings somehow evaporated the ocean, and that's why all the ocean dwelling creatures pulled up into the sky and then dropped on land, and that's why we saw in the first trailer there were so many creatures. It makes you wonder, how else did they get there? I feel like humanity, if we were to lose our oceans, that would be a massive blow against us. And if these beings, whatever they are trying to destroy us, then that would be a really good way to do it. And again, it ties in with all the ocean symbolism that we've seen, especially in the first trailer. And here there are 5 figures. Initially, I thought, when I first saw it, I thought it was 4, was it representing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Maybe the middle one is in charge, and the other 4 are kind of the horsemen that are under his control. Is that middle one Mads Mikkelsen? We could see he could levitate earlier on. You have to wonder, maybe, possibly, actually. I think that could be the case. Who knows? I mean, we really don't know. And then we have Norman's voiceover to see us out again, where he reiterates there were bangs, and there are other bangs. There is another bang. An explosion, sorry. And it seems like this last explosion is the one Death Stranding will focus on. Then came the next explosion, he says, and he says an explosion that will be our last. So it looks like it's hinting at an apocalyptic scenario there for mankind. So yeah, that's the trailer as a whole. I just want to go back. I mentioned a theory about why would there be men having children, and sorry, I'm just trying to find it. The fetus. Yeah, why would there be men having children if there are clones being made? Why are they inside men? Why are men giving birth to them? Surely that would be, you would either get surrogate mothers or create them in labs or whatever. I've heard a theory, and this is just a theory, I didn't come up with this, I saw this online. Someone has said that they think that perhaps women are dying out or have died out in the Death Stranding universe. There's really no evidence for this except for the fact that we haven't seen any women featured in the trailers so far. There have been no female characters mentioned, and that would explain why human males are having to kind of carry babies to term, carry fetuses inside them. So it's possible, I don't know. It might be a bit of a wild guess at this point. I'm not sure there's really much evidence to suggest that. But, why didn't Kojima make one of the British crew here a female? And with that idea in mind, something I thought about is this body that they're collecting. Is it a female body? Look, you can see it here. I really don't think you can say one way or another whether it is or not. But, I don't know, it looks somewhat feminine to me. There's a slight raise in the chest there that could indicate female anatomy. The way it's, I don't know, it is possible. We know so little at this point. But it's clear that these guys are collecting corpses. And as we saw in the Mads Mikkelsen trailer, he can reanimate corpses. So if this unknown entity is able to control corpses, it makes sense that humans would be gathering every fallen human to stop the unknown entities from being able to use them against them. So that's certainly possible. Maybe it is just a bloke that they're getting, but maybe also it's a female. I mean, that could indicate why it's important to them, why they stick around. But again, yeah, I mean, is that a female body? It's really impossible to tell, I think. But I also wonder about the gold mask. Why is that on there? What does that indicate? I mean, again, we have no solid answers to this, and we probably won't for some time. And it's just speculation. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks kind of feminine, I guess. But I don't know. Could just be a small guy or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, an interesting theory. Are there women in Death Stranding? Because so far we haven't seen any. And, you know, that would certainly tie in well with the whole symbolism of children and infants and fetuses. And, you know, it would explain why men are having to carry babies to term. So, who knows? Who knows? I think that's about all I could pick up from this trailer, more or less. But yeah, I mean, colour me intrigued. I'm fascinated. I was hooked on Death Stranding from the very first trailer that launched over a year ago now. It was launched at E3 2016, the first trailer, during Sony's conference. So, I mean, we know so little about it, even though it's been a year. We've seen 3 trailers. I'm so eager to find out more. Kojima loves this kind of thing. He loves getting fans speculating, and he's managed to do that perfectly with this. So, yeah, I mean, well done, Kojima. You're playing us like fiddles right now. Yeah. So this is just my humble analysis of what we can learn from the trailer. I'm going to do lots more Death Stranding stuff as it comes. So if you've enjoyed this, if you're into Death Stranding, stick around on my channel because I will upload more. So subscribe if you want. But yeah, I mean, I heard someone say online, and I think this is very true. They said they feel like they know less than nothing about this game, and that's so true. Given how much we've seen of it, we still really don't know anything about it, and that's so true. I feel like I know a minus amount of this game. I really can't say what is going on for sure, but you know, one thing I know is I'm very interested, and I can't wait to see what Kojima delivers. And my only concern at this point is I hope he can live up to the expectations, because, you know, he's created some incredible games in the past. I love the Metal Gear series, and I can't wait to see what he does with this new IP. And, you know, I just hope he delivers. But based on what we've seen so far, I think he will.